In this video, I'll be ranking every rare Minecraft item in a tier list. That's right, I'll be ranking the absolute worst and the best and the rarest Minecraft items all in this video. If you don't know, the way this tier list works is that there's 5 tiers: best, good, average, faulty, and bad, and I'll be putting each rare item in one of these tiers. And now let's rank our first item. First up, the snowy grass block. Now you might be saying, cool, what do you mean? These things are everywhere where there's snow. Well, technically, but not really, because I'm not talking about this snowy grass block. No. I'm talking about this snowy grass block. Just look at this thing. It's beautiful. And this block is really rare. I mean, this block could only be obtained through an absolutely wild set of events that has such a low % chance of happening that probably no one has ever calculated it. Unless they have, I'm not sure actually. Either way, odds are you've never even seen this block in game and possibly not even ever known about it either. It is just that rare. So now how do you get this thing? Well, the only way to obtain the snowy grass block is if an enderman finds his way to a grass block with snow on it, picks it up, and then puts it back down again. And while that alone is already extremely rare, there is a variant of this snowy grass block called the snowy mycelium block that is even more rare. And to get this mycelium variant of the snowy grass block, an enderman has to somehow find a mycelium block which only spawns in mushroom fields biomes, which themselves are already rare, and then find a mycelium block with snow on it, which almost never happens. Then have an enderman pick up that snowy mycelium block and then put it down. Oh, and mobs don't naturally spawn in mushroom fields biomes, so the enderman will just have to somehow find a way to get there himself. So obviously this block is rare, but where does it rank on the list? Well, sadly you can't pick this block up. If you try to break it, it will just turn into a normal grass block, even if you're using silk touch tools. So really the only thing you could do with this block is build a little museum around it and just stare at it, but it looks so cool though. And it's nice to add to your rare items collection, so overall the snowy grass block is an average tier. Next up, the tall grass and large fern. Now these are 2 items, but the way you acquire them is basically the same, so I'll count them as 1. But the tall large fern grass is an item that you might be thinking is simply not rare at all. I mean, go into any plains or spruce biome and you'll see that they're basically everywhere, so what's the big idea? Well, the big idea is that if you try to shear a tall grass or large fern, you'll find that all it gives you is 2 normal grass or ferns, not the tall ones you were promised. But I wouldn't be telling you about this if there wasn't a way to get the large grass or tall fern in item form. That's right, if you go to a savanna village or a spruce village, there's a chance that in certain houses a chest will be there with a tall grass or large fern in item form. So that's why they're considered rare, and finding these tall large fern grass things wasn't even possible in survival until 1.14, back when the villages were updated. So this is one of the newer rare items, but these items really aren't rare at all compared to some of the stuff we'll be getting to, and trust me, those items will get extremely rare. It gets kind of wild, but while the large fern grass isn't the most rare, it is pretty useful since you can place it down for some rare decorations. The large fern tall grass combo deal is an average tier. Now bedrock, and I'm not talking about the addition, I'm talking about that one block that's supposedly unbreakable. That's right, you could break it in survival mode and pick it up in item form. Now, the way you could get bedrock is through a series of game-breaking glitches that only works in 1.12, so that's why it's so rare. Simply because it's so complicated to get it that not many people have actually done the glitch to get it. But if you do manage to get it, you could have infinite fun with a stack of bedrock, but just be careful you don't accidentally place it somewhere you didn't want. But since the way you acquire bedrock is through a very complex glitch that's unrealistic to expect anyone to just do, even if it's rare, I'll put it in faulty tier. Next up, deepslate emerald ore, the rarest ore in Minecraft. Now, regular emerald ore is already extremely rare. I mean, you could only obtain it in one specific biome, that being the mountains biome, and it's far less abundant than most other ores. And I didn't even know this before making this video, but technically emeralds can spawn in veins of 2, 3, and even up to 4. But it typically spawns in veins of just 1, so that makes it extremely hard to find. So that's just regular emerald ore. So now imagine that instead of trying to find normal emerald ore, you try to find deepslate emerald ore. And let me tell you, deepslate emerald ore is much much more rare than normal emerald ore. Because unlike normal emerald ore, which could spawn anywhere from Y level -16 all the way up to 320, deepslate emerald ore can only be found in a thin layer of world between Y level -16 and Y7. Run that through your calculator and you're working with just 23 blocks up and down to find this ore in one single biome. Now that might not seem very rare, but trust me, it is. People will search hours just to find this one single ore. The deepslate emerald ore isn't just some rare item that you have to do some fancy trick to find. To get this item, it takes manual labor, days, no, years of grinding, hours of backbreaking hard work. But that moment is legendary. Anyway, once you mine it, it's really no different from normal emerald. But at least you can silk touch mine it to pick up the block itself to display as a testament to your mining accomplishments. So because it's it's the rarest ore in the game, I think deepslate emerald ore can go in the good tier. Now the nether star, and I know, this item isn't exactly rare anymore, especially now when you see people making stuff like automatic wither farms. But I'd say that nether stars used to be a rare item, and even now they're not very common. I mean, tell me you don't get at least a little excited when you see a nether star in survival. To me, anything with that enchanted glow just looks more valuable. Anyway, nether stars were added back in the 1.4.2 pretty scary update. Nether stars were of course added alongside the good old wither, since killing the wither is how you get the nether star. And with the nether star, you could craft beacons, which are possibly one of the most important items in just about any survival world, so that puts nether stars in pretty high demand. Fun fact about nether stars, when they're dropped on the ground, they can't be destroyed from an explosion. Pretty much anything else will destroy a nether star. Lava, fire, the void, cactus, even a falling anvil will destroy a nether star, but not an explosion, which I guess is actually a nice little perk to have. But in terms of rareness, this isn't like 2012, so nether stars aren't that rare anymore because of all the ways people have figured out how to farm the wither to get them. So nether stars on their own would be a pretty high tier, but for a rare item, the nether star is a faulty tier. The next rare item is a piglin head. Added in 1.20, the piglin heads I don't think are as popular as the dragon head, but are still very rare. Now the only way you could get a piglin head is by blowing up a piglin with a charged creeper. But because for a creeper to become charged, it needs to be struck by lightning, and there's no lightning in the nether, you could see why piglin heads are so rare. Now I've always liked mob heads. I think the fact that you could wear them and place them down is just cool. And because the piglin head is so rare, it makes it even cooler. Plus the piglin's ears move, so that's even more of a bonus. Unlike a lot of other rare items, the piglin head is both really rare and useful, so I think for all that, the piglin head is a best tier. Next up is naturally occurring pink wool. So sheep spawn in all sorts of colors, we all know that, but what you might have not known is that there's a 0.1 something chance of a sheep that can naturally spawn pink. And if you murder it, you'll get pink wool from that sheep, and pink wool is all you'll get. Now, you're probably thinking, why can't you just dye some pink wool instead of spending hours trying to find a pink sheep just to kill it for its wool? And, well, you're right. If you naturally find a pink sheep, you're best off just putting a name tag on it and leaving it be. You could get some pink wool another way. Alright, that kind of sounded like it was sponsored by PETA, but anyway, pink wool as a rare item is a bad tier. Now, dragon eggs. When I say rare item, you probably think of this one, because there can only be one single dragon egg per world, or 2 if you're on Bedrock Edition. But let's just say 1, because who really plays Bedrock Edition, right? Okay, but dragon eggs can be acquired by defeating the Ender Dragon. And once it's defeated, a block-sized egg will spawn on top of the end portal, and if you try to break it, well, teleports away. So technically you have to use a torch or a piston to actually break the egg. Although what you might not know is that you can break the egg normally if a certain amount of blocks around you are filled enough that there's no air spaces for it to teleport to. So that's cool, but what can you do with the dragon egg? Well, nothing really, but that's what it's meant to do. You see, the dragon egg is meant to be a rare item. It's a trophy item that you're supposed to keep just to look at as an accomplishment for defeating the Ender Dragon and beating the game. In fact, the dragon egg actually might be the only item on this list that Mojang developed with the purpose of just being rare. The dragon egg is the only true rare item. Well, I guess I better start removing all these then. The dragon egg also produces a small amount of light if you ever run out of torches, so maybe it is more than just a trophy. Either way, some lore behind the dragon egg is that a red dragon was a planned update to be added to Minecraft. This update never ended up coming out, but Jeb did say that if it was added to the game, then the dragon egg would most likely be used to hatch the scrapped red dragon. But it's unlikely we'll ever get this red dragon, so right now our dragon egg just remains a trophy item. But even without the red dragon, I still think that the dragon egg we have today, because it's so iconic, at least deserves a best tier. But while these items are rare, what's not rare is me saying I was forced to make this video.